Last night, the WWE Universe witnessed the unthinkable. Roman Reigns, the original tribal chief, made his thunderous return to WWE Raw, and it sent shockwaves through the entire landscape. But what does it mean for the future? Is this the beginning of a war with Seth Rollins' faction? Could we be heading toward a blockbuster clash with Braun Breaker at SummerSlam? Or is Roman quietly preparing to rebuild a new bloodline, complete with two unstoppable enforcers and a trusted right-hand man? Tonight, we break it all down and dive deep into what's next for the OTC. And trust me, you're not ready for what's coming. If you're just as hyped as I am about Roman Reigns' return to Raw, hit that like button and subscribe right now, because we're going deep into what this comeback really means for the future of WWE, and for the legacy of Roman Reigns. In the final moments of Raw, Roman made a jaw-dropping entrance, saving Jey Uso and CM Punk from a vicious 2-on-1 assault by Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. But make no mistake, this wasn't just a save. It was a message. Roman Reigns is back, and he's not here to play games. The OTC has returned, and he's got unfinished business. So, what's next? Will he challenge Braun Breaker in a one-on-one war at SummerSlam 2025? Could he reunite with Jey Uso in a tag team war against Seth Rollins' faction? Or, and this is the most intriguing theory yet, is Roman about to reform the bloodline with a new breed of dominance, one that could change the WWE forever? In this video, we'll explore all three possibilities. And stay tuned until the end for a shocking theory that just might blow your mind. Let's get into it. First, a look back. Where has Roman Reigns been? After ruling WWE for years as the head of the table, Roman Reigns stepped away following WrestleMania 41. His absence left a void and questions. But the answer became clear on the Raw after WrestleMania, when Seth Rollins and his new faction, led by the explosive Braun Breaker, blindsided Roman in a brutal ambush. It was a clear statement from the visionary: the era of the tribal chief was over. Or so they thought. Now, Roman is back, and last night, he reminded the world who truly runs this business. His return wasn't just about helping Jey and Punk, it was personal. And with Seth Rollins temporarily sidelined with injury, the battlefield is wide open. Possibility 3, Roman Reigns vs. Braun Breaker, SummerSlam 2025 showdown. Let's start with the most immediate and brutal option. Braun Breaker, dubbed the Dog of WWE, has been an unstoppable wrecking ball since joining Rollins' faction. Fast, powerful, and dangerous, he led the charge in Roman's post-WrestleMania beatdown. Now, with Rollins out of commission, Breaker could become Roman's first target. Imagine it, SummerSlam 2025, headlined by Roman Reigns vs. Braun Breaker, the seasoned tribal chief versus the young, hungry powerhouse. Roman's precision and experience versus Breaker's fury and athleticism. Spear versus gore. Legend versus prodigy. But Braun Breaker isn't alone. Even without Seth Rollins by his side, there's potential for outside interference. Maybe Bronson Reed? Or could Rollins return in secret to tilt the scales? This match could ignite a months-long war, one that defines Roman's return run in 2025. Roman thrives on the SummerSlam stage. He's toppled giants like Brock Lesnar and legends like John Cena under these lights. But a win over Breaker wouldn't just be another notch on his belt, it would re-establish Roman Reigns as the undisputed force in WWE. On the other hand, if Breaker manages to beat the tribal chief, it could launch him into superstardom and shift the balance of power in WWE. What do you think? Can Breaker survive Roman's wrath? Let us know in the comments. Possibility 2, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso vs. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, tag team war. Let's not forget the emotional weight behind Roman's return. He didn't just save CM Punk, he saved his cousin, Jey Uso. That moment carried years of history, brotherhood, betrayal, and redemption. Now, with Jey already locked in a feud with Rollins' faction, Roman's return could elevate it into an all-out war. Picture this, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso standing side by side once again. The bloodline bond reignited. Facing off against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed in a high-stakes tag match at SummerSlam 2025. Roman and Jey's chemistry? Undeniable. Breaker and Reed's raw aggression? Unmatched. This wouldn't just be a tag match, it would be a battle of generations and styles. But here's where things get even more intriguing. This could be the beginning of something bigger. Jey, having thrived as a solo star, might be on the verge of rekindling his alliance with Roman, perhaps leading to a larger faction on Raw. With CM Punk now chasing Gunther for the World Heavyweight title, Roman and Jay could become the centerpiece of Monday Night Raw, and let's not underestimate Bronson Reed. His tsunami is a match ender, and paired with Breakker's aggression, this duo could give Roman and Jay everything they can handle. The tag match would be a war, and possibly a preview of even bigger battles down the line, maybe even leading into Survivor Series. But with their complicated past, can Roman and Jay really stay united? Or will the cracks resurface at the worst possible moment? Drop your predictions below. Possibility 1, Roman Reigns forms a new bloodline. Now, we get to the most thrilling theory, the one that could reshape WWE. While Roman's return rocked Raw, the chaos on SmackDown is also heating up. Solo Sikoa has claimed the mantle of Tribal Chief, backed by a deadly faction of his own, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, and the rising JC Mateo. Meanwhile, Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu are locked in a losing war. Outnumbered and outgunned, but that's about to change. What if Roman Reigns returns to SmackDown to align with Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu, while keeping Jay by his side on Raw? That would be the formation of a new bloodline, united across both brands, and built to dismantle Solo's uprising. Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, is chaos incarnate. Unpredictable. Dangerous. Perfect as an enforcer. Jay Uso, the high-flying warrior with heart and loyalty, and Jimmy Uso, charismatic, sharp, and ready to step up as Roman's new right-hand man. Together, this trio could help Roman retake control of the family legacy. Imagine the factional war, Roman's new bloodline versus Solo Sikoa's Empire. Raw versus SmackDown, legacy versus rebellion. But here's the catch, can Roman keep them together? His past with Jay and Jimmy is full of scars, and Jacob Fatu isn't exactly known for following orders, and we haven't even mentioned the X Factor. Paul Heyman, the wise man, has been missing since Roman's hiatus. Does he return to back Roman once again? Or is Jimmy poised to replace him as the strategic voice of this new era? This isn't just a faction war, it's a family civil war waiting to explode. Possibly at Survivor Series. Or maybe Royal Rumble 2026. What do you think? Can Roman build a bloodline even more dominant than the original? Roman Reigns' return isn't just about revenge, it's about legacy. The bloodline story has shaped WWE for years, and his next move will define its future. Whether it's a clash with Braun Breaker, a tag team reunion with Jey Uso, or the rebirth of a new bloodline, Roman Reigns is back, and the throne is once again within reach. But the question remains, will he reclaim it through loyalty? Through dominance? Or by going it alone? SummerSlam 2025 could be the battleground where everything changes. Breaker, Rollins faction, Solo Sikoa, and the new bloodline. The stakes have never been higher. So which path are you most excited for? Roman versus Breaker, a tag team war with Jay? Or the formation of a dangerous new bloodline? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more in-depth WWE breakdowns. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Until then, acknowledge the Tribal Chief, and I'll see you in the next one. As the dust begins to settle from Roman Reigns' shocking return to Raw, the WWE Universe is still buzzing, and the tremors are far from over. With SummerSlam looming on the horizon and Seth Rollins recovering from a brutal injury, the entire power structure of WWE is shifting. The original Tribal Chief didn't just walk back into the spotlight, he tore it down and rewired it in his image. And now, all eyes are on what comes next. Reigns' arrival wasn't a nostalgic pop. It was an open challenge to anyone who thought the era of the Bloodline was finished. Saving Jey Uso and CM Punk was a calculated move. Not just a display of loyalty, but a signal to both brands that Roman Reigns is still the axis around which WWE spins. The symbolism of who he saved and who he attacked cannot be overstated. Jey Uso, once his fiercest rival, now stands as a brother in arms. CM Punk, a wild-card outsider who has long fought for survival in a system that refused to break for him, was chosen. Roman's choice wasn't emotional, it was strategic. Backstage sources have reported that Roman arrived at the arena under heavy security, keeping himself isolated from nearly everyone until minutes before his entrance. Producers were kept in the dark, talent was blindsided, and commentary was given no cue. That level of secrecy is rare, even for WWE. But Roman wanted impact, and impact he delivered. The beating he delivered to Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker wasn't just revenge. It was a reminder. A reminder that Roman Reigns doesn't need a title to command the room. He is the storyline. He is the main event. And with Seth Rollins injured and his faction vulnerable, Roman has his opening. For nearly 2 years, Rollins had danced around Roman's shadow. From his manipulative grin to the mind games he perfected, Seth always positioned himself as the anti-Reigns. But now? With his knee in a brace and doctors hesitant to clear him for anything beyond light promo work, Seth Rollins is, for the first time in years, out of the conversation. And that's exactly where Roman likes his enemies, silent. Behind the scenes, the tension is thick. Word is, Roman's return wasn't supposed to happen until SummerSlam itself. But when the news broke about Rollins suffering a partial MCL tear during a live event in Milwaukee, the company made the call. They couldn't afford to let the top of the card collapse weeks before one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year. Roman Reigns was fast-tracked. And if the backstage murmurs are true, he wasn't happy about it, but he was ready. What makes Roman so dangerous isn't just his physical dominance, it's his mind. He understands timing. He understands legacy. And more than anything, he understands weakness. Right now, with Seth Rollins on the sidelines and Braun Breaker stepping into the void, Roman sees a perfect storm. Breaker may be explosive, may be hungry, but he's also impulsive. He lacks the political cunning of Rollins and the psychological warfare of someone like Heyman. Roman knows this. And he's going to use it. SummerSlam 2025 is now being rewritten in real time. The planned main event was meant to be Rollins defending the World Heavyweight Championship against CM Punk, with Breaker and Reed causing chaos at ringside. But now, Punk is drifting toward Gunther. Rollins is in rehab. And Roman? Roman's name is suddenly being floated for multiple angles. Some insiders believe WWE may pull the trigger on Roman versus Breaker. Others suggest a 6-man tag, with Reigns, Jay, and a surprise third man. Possibly Jacob Fatu, going up against Breaker, Reed, and another member of Rollins' damaged unit. But Roman's return isn't just about filling a main event slot. It's about resetting the Bloodline story before the audience grows cold. With Solo Sikoa running SmackDown like a rogue chieftain and Jimmy Uso hanging in the balance, WWE is now racing to connect the dots between Roman's legacy and the current chaos across brands. Jey Uso, now clearly aligned with Roman again, could serve as the bridge between Raw and SmackDown. And fans have begun to chant something chilling during recent events: New Bloodline. It's not just a possibility. It's an inevitability, and yet, Roman has remained silent. Since his return on Raw, he said nothing. No interviews. No backstage segments. No cryptic posts. Just a cold, calculated stare and the fallout of his fists. This silence is louder than any promo. It's intentional. Roman wants the world to speculate. He wants Seth to wonder if his days at the top are over. He wants Breaker to question if he's ready to stand toe-to-toe with a living dynasty. And most of all, he wants Paul Heyman to hear the footsteps, because yes, Paul Heyman is still missing. No tweets. No sightings. No acknowledgements. And Roman's not asking where he is. He's making everyone else ask instead. If there's one thing Roman Reigns mastered during his first run, it's control. He controlled narratives, opponents, referees, even the audience. But now, with no title and no bloodline at his side, we're seeing a Roman Reigns unchained. And that's terrifying. When he marched down that ramp on Raw, there was no crown, no gold, no wise man leading the way. Just Roman. Focused. Vengeful. Reborn. Reports indicate that Creative is keeping SummerSlam's card fluid for this exact reason. They don't know what Roman wants. And until they do, everyone is holding their breath. There's talk of giving Roman a microphone next week on Raw, letting him address the WWE Universe for the first time since WrestleMania. But even that isn't confirmed. Roman may not speak at all until SummerSlam. And if that's the case, then every move he makes between now and then will carry the weight of legend. Meanwhile, Seth Rollins is wrestling his own demons, outside the ring. While he's posted motivational updates about returning stronger, those close to him say the frustration is real. For years, he scratched and clawed his way to the top, often in Roman's shadow. And just when he finally forged his own faction, just when he was about to headline the biggest SummerSlam of his career, his body gave out. Seth Rollins was supposed to be the future. But injuries have a cruel way of rewriting even the most carefully planned stories. Now, he's watching from the sidelines as Roman Reigns walks right back into his spot. It's unclear whether Seth will be cleared before SummerSlam. Doctors have given mixed timelines, some optimistic, some cautious. But the truth is, WWE isn't waiting. The machine moves forward. And Roman Reigns is once again the engine backstage. The locker room is split. Some superstars are excited, believing Roman's presence will boost the brand and elevate the stories. Others are worried. Because when Roman is around, the spotlight narrows. Only a few can survive in it. And those who don't adapt? They disappear. Fast. There's also speculation around the timing of this return. Some believe Roman planned it all along, that he waited until Seth's injury left a power vacuum, then struck. It's classic Roman, no wasted motion, no unnecessary risks. But if that's true, then his next move becomes even more critical. Because SummerSlam isn't just about victory anymore, it's about reclaiming dominance. Creative is reportedly tossing around the idea of Roman confronting Seth Rollins on Raw via satellite, or possibly appearing unannounced at Seth's injury update segment. The idea would be to re-establish their rivalry without needing a physical confrontation, keeping Seth safe while building anticipation. Whether or not that happens, it's clear WWE is putting everything behind this return. They need Roman to anchor SummerSlam, and Roman, whether he likes it or not, is once again the face of the company, and yet, Roman doesn't seem interested in being the face anymore. He doesn't care about press tours or championship gold. What he wants, what he's always wanted, is acknowledgement. Respect. Legacy. The kind that isn't written in title reigns or merch sales, but in fear. In reverence. And by the look on Braun Breaker's face as Roman walked past him backstage after Raw, he's already succeeded. The question now is simple: what happens next? Roman Reigns is back. Seth Rollins is hurt. SummerSlam is around the corner. And the Bloodline war is simmering beneath the surface, ready to erupt at any moment. We're not just watching the return of a superstar, we're witnessing the resurrection of an empire. One forged in betrayal, blood, and absolute power. The throne is empty. The king has returned. And everyone, Rollins, Breaker, Solo, Punk, is either a pawn or an obstacle. In Roman Reigns' world, you're either with him, or beneath him. But even as Roman Reigns asserts his dominance, there's one thing that looms larger than any single match or moment: the legacy of the Bloodline. That story, years in the making, is still unfolding in ways no one could have predicted. With Solo Sikoa claiming the throne on SmackDown and forging his own ruthless empire, the lines of loyalty within the Anoa'i family have never been more blurred. Roman's silence on the matter only adds to the tension. Has he returned to Raw to avoid confronting Solo directly? Or is he simply setting the stage for a calculated, multi-brand siege? There's a growing belief that Roman's reappearance on Raw wasn't random at all, it was a power play. By saving Jey Uso and CM Punk, Roman reclaimed moral ground while simultaneously planting a flag on Raw. He didn't go to SmackDown to confront Solo. He went to Raw to build something new. Something unchallenged. Something dangerous. Insiders close to WWE Creative have hinted at major crossover plans for Survivor Series or even earlier, with Raw and SmackDown's top factions colliding in a war for tribal supremacy. Roman and Solo are on a collision course. It's inevitable. And when it happens, it won't be a simple family feud, it'll be an all-out civil war. Roman may have returned quietly, but his actions speak loudly. By refusing to acknowledge Solo's reign, he's already issued a challenge. Meanwhile, all eyes are on Jey Uso. Once the heart of the Bloodline story, Jey has found himself at the center of the chaos again. His reunion with Roman felt less like a moment of nostalgia and more like the beginning of something calculated. Jey, the emotional core of the family, has always been the hinge. His loyalty can tip the balance in either direction. And Roman knows this. That's why he saved him first. That's why Jey's allegiance now feels like the most valuable prize in this power struggle. And then there's Jimmy Uso, still absent from Raw, caught in the middle of Roman and Solo's quiet war. His position is murky. Will he rejoin his brother and Roman to re-establish the Bloodline under its original chief? Or will he side with Solo, backing the younger, more aggressive leader? Some rumors even suggest Jimmy could betray them both and forge his own path, leaving Roman, Jey, and Solo to battle while he watches from the sidelines. But the most unpredictable variable in all of this? Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, has been a storm waiting to hit WWE full force. His arrival could change the entire dynamic, especially if he aligns with Roman. While his current allegiance isn't confirmed, his intensity and chaos make him the perfect enforcer for Roman's reborn bloodline. A man like Jacob doesn't follow just anyone. But Roman isn't just anyone. If the rumors are true, Jacob has already been seen backstage during Roman's return taping. WWE is keeping it quiet, but insiders suggest that a confrontation, or alliance, between Roman and Jacob could explode in the lead-up to SummerSlam or shortly after. Then there's CM Punk. While he was one of the men Roman saved on Raw, his role remains a mystery. Some believe Roman did it for optics, a way to position himself as WWE's ultimate protector. Others think it was a setup for something bigger. Punk, after all, isn't the kind of man who accepts help easily. Their pasts are tangled, their philosophies incompatible. But for now, Punk is focused on Gunther and the World Heavyweight Championship. That leaves Roman room to maneuver without interference. But don't think for a second that Punk will forget what happened. He never does. As for Seth Rollins, his physical recovery may be slow, but his presence looms large. Even injured, Seth is a puppet master. He doesn't need to wrestle to influence the game. If he chooses to retaliate, whether through Breakker, Reed, or another member of his faction, he could still strike first. Roman knows this. That's why he's moving fast, reclaiming turf before Seth can stabilize his army. The recent footage of Seth at the WWE Performance Center has only fueled speculation. He was seen walking with a limp, his knee heavily strapped. But he was also seen talking with younger talent, coaching, guiding, influencing. That's not a man who's bowing out. That's a general preparing his troops. If Seth returns before SummerSlam, even in a limited capacity, it could flip Roman's plan on its head. Suddenly, Breakker wouldn't be a lone dog. He'd have his master back. And Roman, though confident, thrives on control. Unpredictability is his greatest enemy. Seth knows that. He's banking on it. So where does this leave SummerSlam? With every week that passes, the card becomes more volatile. Roman vs. Breakker is still the leading rumor, but there's increasing chatter about a larger match, possibly a 6-man tag that would pit Roman, Jey, and a surprise ally against Breakker, Reed, and a returning Seth. Or perhaps, WWE leans into the blood feud and sets the stage for Roman's eventual confrontation with Solo Sikoa. It might not happen at SummerSlam, but the seeds are already planted. The creative brass reportedly has 2 separate endings planned for SummerSlam. One that sees Roman victorious and re-establishing dominance, and another that sets him up for a long-term chase, positioning Solo as the ultimate obstacle. Both paths lead to war. The only question is how WWE chooses to light the fuse. Behind the scenes, one name keeps being mentioned in hushed conversations: Paul Heyman. His absence is conspicuous. Too conspicuous. The wise man, once the voice behind Roman's empire, has gone silent. Some believe he's waiting in the wings, preparing for a dramatic return to reunite the bloodline. Others suspect he may have aligned himself with Solo, or worse, is manipulating both sides to preserve his influence. Heyman thrives in chaos. And with Roman and Solo both reaching for the tribal crown, There's no better time for him to re-emerge and pick a side, or play both. WWE knows this. And if Heyman returns at SummerSlam, it could be the turning point in this entire story. One thing is certain, Roman Reigns didn't come back to reminisce. He came back to reclaim. His silence, his actions, his calculated saves, they all point to one conclusion. Roman isn't just back. He's reloading. Rebuilding. Reprogramming the system that nearly turned against him. Injured or not, Seth Rollins still haunts the ring. Solo Sikoa stands defiant. And the WWE Universe, caught in the middle, watches as the biggest story in modern wrestling begins its next chapter, and that chapter is soaked in ambition, betrayal, and vengeance. Roman Reigns isn't waiting for opportunity. He is the opportunity now. The game has changed. The board has reset. And the tribal chief is placing his pieces. Checkmate is coming. But as Roman Reigns continues to reshape the narrative in his image, another battle is brewing, one that goes beyond factions, brands, or even championships. It's the battle for identity. Who is Roman Reigns now? Is he still the calculating tyrant who ruled SmackDown with fear and loyalty? Or has his time away from the ring allowed something else to grow, something darker, more methodical, more merciless? His recent actions suggest the latter. The Roman Reigns who returned to Raw didn't need pyro, an entourage, or theatrics. His presence was enough. His arrival was silent, his message deafening. In one night, he cast a shadow that instantly dwarfed everything Seth Rollins had been building. And perhaps that's what terrifies Rollins the most, not the injury, not the uncertainty, but the fact that Roman never needed the gold. Roman was always the headline. The era never really ended. Now, Roman's influence is starting to spread again. Not just through his actions, but through fear. Younger talent in the back, names who have barely scratched the surface of main event status, are suddenly hesitant to speak out. The veterans, the ones who thrived in Roman's absence, know they're back under his scrutiny. The hierarchy is shifting again, and Roman didn't need to speak a single word to make that happen. Meanwhile, Raw's creative team is in overdrive. There's a growing push to elevate the tension between Roman and Breakker over the next few weeks. Breakker, despite his rising status, has never faced anyone with Roman's kind of legacy heat. And that's exactly what WWE wants to explore. Can Breakker hold his ground under the weight of Roman's history? Expect Roman to stalk his prey. No sudden challenges, no flashy showdowns. Just quiet domination. Subtle manipulations.